Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Electrocutioner Destiny 2 Warlock build. This is a PvE focus build which will make you become the lightning storm itself with non-stop abilities and non-stop fusion rifle annihilation. As always, I will have a cheat sheet for that build in the dim link down in the description, and we will go over that step by step in this video. So stay with me. Ladies and gentlemen, the Electrocutioner Stormcaller Warlock build. Let's go over the subclass first. And I make that quick, okay? To the point. Storm Trance. You want to run Storm Trance, it's just better for ad clear. It also does more damage. I don't like what they did to Chaos Reach. Abilities. We go with Healing Rift because you're squishy as fuck and you need all the help you can get. But you're like a glass cannon squishy. Burst Glide for the faster movement. Chain Lightning. An extended range melee that jolts your target and chains lightning to nearby enemies. While amplified, it creates an additional set of chains. Chains. So we will use the chains, but basically not the regular melee. You can run that one with Storm Grenade or Pulse Grenade, depending. Storm Grenade has a little bit faster cooldown. Pulse Grenade is great for PvE if you want to cover hallways or doors. Which brings us to the aspects. The melee basically brings us to the aspects, okay? Lightning Surge. An improvised electro blah blah blah. While sliding, activate your charged melee ability to blink forward, calling down lightning strikes that jolt targets. This is awesome, okay? That's like all around killing stuff. How do you get amplified? We will talk about that in just a second. Number one is defeating targets with arc abilities or defeating jolted or blinded targets. What we all do with this aspect and with the melee creates an ionic trace. Collecting an ionic trace makes you amplified, and that was the question Atomic Skull asked here professionally in chat. So collecting ionic traces will make you amplified. And you might ask, is this the only way to make ionic traces? No, it isn't. But let's talk about the fragments first. Your arc grenades also jolt targets. That also helps us with the aspects. We have a Spark of Beacon. So while you're amplified, your arc special weapon final blows create a blinding explosions. That's basically why we will use an arc special weapon, but we won't use any arc special weapon. We will use a special arc weapon. And then let's talk Spark of Resistance. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage. As I said, you're squishy as fuck. This one helps a little bit, and it gives you plus 10 strength, and this is important later. Defeating jolted target creates an ionic trace. So here's another way to create ionic traces to, you guessed it, get amplified again. Before we go back to the cheat sheet, you could also change, for example, Spark of Shock with the one when you make kills with your special weapon, that you also spawn ionic traces. And now let's check if that works. That didn't work. Does that work? That works. Yeah. So let's summarize that up quickly here on the cheat sheet, ladies and gentlemen. The abilities, you see them here: Storm Trance, Healing Rift, Burst Light, Chain Lightning, Pulse Grenade, or Storm Grenade to your personal liking. Then we have the aspects, Lightning Surge and Electrostatic Mind, and what they do. And as asked before in chat, you can also see in yellow what does what in regards of the build and how the synergies work. Then we have the fragments here. The plus 10 strengths somehow are like got lost, but they are here. Did we actually have a cheat sheet this season without any arrows? We didn't. With that said, let's head back in-game and talk a little bit about the exotic we gonna run with that build. Should we? And I guess it's pretty obvious. The strongest exotic for this build is actually Crown of Tempests, because they changed that with this season. So now it says arc ability or jolt final blows. Increase the recharge rate of your arc abilities and extend the duration of Storm Trance. So this is awesome, because as you've seen with our subclass setup, we will jolt a lot. And we use arc abilities because it's an arc subclass. That's kind of obvious. With that said, quick talk to the synergy, about the synergy. And I guess I will do that on a cheat sheet because that's a bit easier to handle. So here we have that again, the exotic Crown of Tempests. Now let's talk about the weapons. And we do that here on the cheat sheet because that's a bit quicker. Kinetic slot, personal preference, or whatever you want against champions. The same goes for heavy. The important part of this build is a delicate tome. An arc fusion rifle. Final blows with this weapon have a chance to create ionic traces. So that goes directly into that area here to get to become amplified and to get your abilities back even faster. And I unlocked the catalyst, which was actually a pain in the ass. With the catalyst, ionic traces also reload the magazine. And I told you this is about non-stop lightning fun. So we not only reload our magazine, okay? Which brings us to the mods, because we will run a mod setup that also has heavy-handed in it. And we will unlock the secondary pack of heavy-handed, which basically says, and let's check that quickly in-game, what that perk does, because that is important. Heavy-handed, the secondary perk, while surrounded by multiple combatants, defeating a combatant with a fusion rifle, shotgun, sidearm, or submachine gun adds ammo for that weapon to your reserves. What does that mean in regards of the build? Okay? I tell you what that means. 1, you kill stuff with Delicate Tome, you get ionic traces. You also get ionic traces from the abilities, which then reloads your Delicate Tome. And at the same time, when you're surrounded by enemies, you will also get ammo back into your reserve. So it's basically a non-stop Delicate Tome shenanigan. Let's talk quickly about the rest of the mods, and I just did it here. Harmonic Siphon, because then we can spawn the lightning bulbs. Fusion rifle, oh shit, why fusion rifle, ammo finder, well of striking, double melee kickstart, elemental charge, fusion rifle reserves, melee wellmaker, fusion holster, fusion scavenger, well of irons, and heavy handed. And we used that setup. We also had that for the Titan. We used that exact setup, please, because then you have back-to-back melees. If you're charged with light and you pick up one arc, well, you get your melee back 100% with that setup. Let's wrap it up with the stats quickly with that build, okay? Before we talk a little bit more about Delicate Tome, I basically don't give a fuck because the synergies in this build are so strong that you don't need specific stats. I would go for 100 strength and recovery as high as possible just to make it a little bit more fluid. And then you have the build. You have the Electrocution, one of the best Arc 3.0 builds so far. It's like you annihilate stuff non-stop. This week's Nightfall, I actually hate this week's Nightfall, okay? It's horrible. Last week's Nightfall was a blast with that build. You were just zooming through the stuff, through the Nightfall, even blinding like champions and annihilating them. I used heavy machine gun for that, for the Overload guy. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this little piece of content, and if you want to see more Destiny 2 stuff, especially builds, check the playlist to my left. And if you are more interested in what YouTube algorithm has in petto for you, then check the one below that playlist. If you like my stuff, please leave a like and help Mom's Basement grow. See you next time. DirtyHotte out.